Hey, what is up, mortals? It is welcome to Season 1, Part 1 of What If Deku Had a Speed Quirk. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the story. When Izuku Midoriya was 4 years old, his childhood friend Katsuki Bakugo dared him to climb up a tree. At that moment, Izuku felt the area around him start to warm up as he nervously looked up at the tree. As Izuku began to climb the tree, he began to find it harder to get a firm grip on the tree. Once Izuku was about 2 feet off the ground, he lost his footing. At that exact moment, Izuku closed his eyes, expecting to feel the ground's impact in a few seconds. Except the impact never came. Slowly Izuku opened his eyes and realized he was sitting on the lowest branch of the tree. Looks like Deku finally got his quirk, Katsuki said as he looked up at Izuku, who was 10 feet off the ground. Kakin, Izuku stammered, looking down at his friend. Can you help me get down? How should I know? You used your quirk to get up there. Just use it to get down, Katsuki yelled at Izuku. Midoriya sat there in shock as the news settled in. His quirk activated and enabled him to climb the tree. All Midoriya had to do was figure out how to activate his quirk. In his excitement, Midoriya started to climb down only to lose his grip about halfway down the trunk of the tree. In a panic, Midoriya used his quirk in an attempt to land on his feet. As Midoriya landed, he felt pain shooting through his right leg. When he looked down, he saw that he had fallen oddly on his right foot. Midoriya sat at the base of the tree, trying not to cry from the pain. Thankfully, Midoriya was saved from further embarrassment because his mother showed up soon afterward to pick him up. Despite the pain, Midoriya smiled as his mother came closer. Mom, guess what? Izuku said with a smile as he looked at his mother. With a playful sigh, Inko said, How am I supposed to know what's going on unless you tell? Kakin dared me to climb the tree, so I did. I was about to fall when my quirk activated. And the next thing, I knew I was sitting on the branch. I tried to get down, but I fell. My right foot hurts. I wonder what my quirk is, Izuku said excitedly to distract himself from the pain he was feeling in his right foot. With a look of pure exasperation, Inko picked up Izuku and put him in the car. After a short drive to the hospital, the pair went to see the doctor about what had just happened. The doctor put a brace on Izuku's right foot as he had sprained his ankle when he fell. Due to your son's injury, we weren't able to fully test his quirk, but it's an interesting one. What quirks do you and the boy's father have? The doctor asked. His father's quirk is breathing fire, and my quirk is levitating small objects around, Inko said, suddenly confused. Well, this is a rare occurrence. It seems the boy's quirk is different from his parents'. His quirk seems to be speed-based, the doctor said. What does the quirk do exactly? And why is his quirk so different from his parents'? Inko asked. We don't know why his quirk is different from his parents'. This type of quirk manifestation is rare since the child usually has the same quirk as his parents or a combination of the two quirks. His quirk uses the electricity that his body naturally produces to ionize the air around him. He uses the ionized air to increase his speed in the direction he chooses and reduce air resistance around him. We decided based on that to call it ionic charge, the doctor explained. Were you able to figure anything else out? Inko asked. The drawback of the quirk is that he heats the air around him, so he could dehydrate if he overuses his quirk. The boy also requires a larger number of electrolytes for his quirk. Make sure he gets plenty of electrolytes when he eats or drinks. Once his foot has fully healed, we would like to see him back here to fully test his quirk, the doctor said. As Izuku was walking to school, he saw the pro-hero Kamui Woods trying to arrest a villain with some gigantification quirk. Just as Kamui was about to trap and defeat the villain, Mount Lady attacked the villain with a canyon kick. Izuku started to take notes about the fight in his journal while muttering to himself. Izuku ended up being a few minutes late to school because of the battle. As he entered the classroom, Katsuki greeted him by saying, Hey dumbass, how can someone with super speed never make it to class on time? With your quirk, Deku, you should be the first one here. I got distracted. Kakin, you know I like to watch heroes in action, Izuku responded. The rest of the day went by as usual. It wasn't until the end of the day when the teacher asked the students what school they wanted to continue their education. The teacher then said as he tossed some papers into the air, What a stupid question. All of you want to go UA. Everyone in the class shouted, Of course. The teacher gathered up the papers and said, 2 of our own are applying to the hero course in the UA. Bakugo and Midoriya, good luck on passing the entrance exam. Plenty of people are trying to get into the UA hero course. Deku, you better start being on time. Otherwise, you'll miss the entrance exam, Katsuki said mockingly. Kakin, I won't be late, I promise, Izuku said. After class, Katsuki asked, Hey nerd, a few of my friends and I plan to hang out. Do you want to come? No thanks, I was going to study up for the UA exam, Izuku said. After that conversation, Izuku put his notebook in his bag and then put the bag on his shoulder and left. Izuku decided to take the scenic route home to have more time to think about how he would train for the UA Entrance exam. As Izuku was walking under a bridge, his thought process was interrupted as a maintenance hole cover was blasted upwards into the bridge. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes over the hard facts of the anime presented. If you are interested in content like this, please go check the description below or click the eye icon in the top right corner. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the story. Izuku instinctively activated his quirk and moved out from under the bridge. Shortly after that, a sludge villain appeared and attacked Izuku. Rather quickly, the fight became a cat and mouse chase. Due to his quirk nature, Izuku took out a metal bottle to drink from so he could stay hydrated. "You're a bit cocky, kid. Do you think I will give you time to drink?" the sludge villain said. "Oh, I'm not worried about you giving me time. I'll have plenty of time," Izuku said before he finished what was left in the bottle. The villain rushed at Izuku again only to find that Izuku wasn't there. Izuku had unscrewed the cap of the bottle and put it in his pocket. He planned to lure the villain into attacking him so he could trap the villain in the bottle. As the battle continued, All Might jumped out of the opening in sewers. All Might ended up watching the fight for about a minute. "Wait a second, I'm a hero, so why am I letting a kid fight a villain?" All Might thought as he leaped into action. All Might yelled, "Texas Smash," as he threw a straight right punch at the villain. The air pressure from the punch sent the villain flying. Izuku had to dive out of the way as All Might's attack came in. All Might went over to Izuku and asked, "Young man, are you all right?" "I'm fine. I'm glad that's over," Izuku said as he started to get up and dust himself off. "Young man, what were you trying with that bottle?" "I was trying to trap the villain inside of the bottle," Izuku said. Izuku then started to realize that he was talking to All Might. "Well then, let's put the villain in the bottle so he can't escape." "Man, I got lost searching those sewers for the villain," All Might said. Izuku tossed the bottle to All Might and took out the cap. Once All Might had the villain in the bottle, Izuku tossed All Might the cap to the bottle. Once the cap was securely on the bottle and the villain couldn't get out, did Izuku finally relax? "Hello my GHD, could I get your autograph and ask you a question?" Izuku asked while stuttering in excitement. "Of course, I just need something to write on," All Might said with a smile. Izuku started to take out his notebook and asked nervously, "I've been told by a few people that my quirk isn't all that great. So, I was curious if it's possible to become a hero with a quirk that isn't that great." "Young man, the quirk doesn't make the person makes the hero. From what I saw out there, you have the makings of a fine hero," All Might said. "Thank you, sir," Izuku said as he passed the notebook to All Might. "If you're interested, why don't you and a friend of yours go down to the police station and sign up for the training which will start soon? A friend of mine is in the area and decided to offer training to those interested in becoming heroes," All Might said as he signed the notebook and passed it back to Izuku. "Thank you, sir. I know just who to ask," Izuku said excitedly. Izuku could barely contain his excitement as he walked the rest of the way home. Once Izuku got home, he made sure to complete his homework before calling Katsuki. "Come on, Kaken, pick up already. I know this would interest you," Izuku said as he waited for Katsuki to pick up the phone. "Damn it, nerd, I was doing something. There better be a good reason why you're calling me." "What do you want?" Katsuki growled. "So, I got attacked by a sludge villain on the way home from school today. While I was fighting him, All Might appeared and defeated the villain," Izuku said excitedly. "Get to the damn point already, nerd," Katsuki said, growing impatient with Izuku's story. "After All Might arrested the villain, he gave me his autograph. He recommended a training program that a friend of his was doing. If you're interested, why don't we head down to the police station and sign up for it?" Izuku asked excitedly. "Fine, tomorrow is the weekend, so I'm going to be at your apartment at 9 in the morning. You better be ready to go once I get there," Katsuki said before saying goodbye. Izuku made sure everything was ready before he went to bed. Izuku wanted to make sure that he could meet Katsuki outside his apartment to head over to the police station. The next morning, Izuku started getting ready at 7 in the morning. After he got dressed, Izuku grabbed his bottle and went outside to wait for Katsuki at 8 in the morning. Izuku didn't have to wait too long as Katsuki showed up not long after. "It's a good thing that I decided to come here early, Deku. At least you're not late this time, nerd. Let's go to the station already," Katsuki said with a groan. "I wonder what type of training it's going to be. I wonder what type of quirk this guy has," Izuku started muttering as they walked to the police station. After about a 30-minute walk, the two arrived at the police station and saw the training program's flyer. Once inside the station, an officer in a trench coat and a plain-looking fedora operating the training camp booth. Izuku and Katsuki walked over to the officer. "Are you two here to sign up for the training program?" Tsukachi asked. "Yes, we are. We were wondering if you could tell us more about the program," Izuku said nervously. "The program will train your body physically and even give you a chance to hone your quirk, which is why the sign-up sheet is here. This way, you can get permission to use your quirk," Tsukachi said. "All right, we'll do it. Where do we sign up?" Katsuki said, growing bored of the conversation. "Oh, right here," Tsukachi said as he passed a sheet of paper and a pen to both of them. "Nerd, you better put me down as your training partner," Katsuki said with a grumble. "Kaken, that's why I asked you to come here with me. You need to relax for once," Izuku said as the two of them filled out the paper. Once it was taken care of, Tsukachi took the papers from them. He said, "Tomorrow, please make sure to head to Dagaba Beach at 9 in the morning. Unlike All Might, the guy running the program doesn't like people to keep him waiting." The two boys went back to Izuku's apartment to discuss what kind of training they should expect. Neither of them had been expecting to be able to use their quirks. After talking for a few hours about the program, the two decided to have fun at the local arcade to have some fun before the program tomorrow. Once they decided to head home for the night, the pair agreed to meet at Dagaba Beach. Izuku was so excited to participate in the program that his favorite hero, All Might, recommended that he end up arriving at the beach 30 minutes early. A man in a white suit greeted him. Izuku noticed that the man seemed to be staring intently at him. The man pushed his glasses back into place and said, "I see you're here early. Your friend will be here shortly. The two of you will be cleaning the garbage from this beach. To better train everyone who signed up, we put you guys in separate locations." "Thank you, sir," Izuku said before running to start moving trash. About 10 minutes later, Katsuki arrived at the beach and received a similar greeting from the man. Katsuki started to clean the beach up. At first, it wasn't apparent what type of training it was, until they realized they had to move the garbage that weighed the most without assistance. "I suppose only a hero could come up with a training program as bizarre as this one," Katsuki said. "At least we know we are doing something to prepare ourselves for the UA practical exam," Izuku said. The next day after school, the pair were doing combat training to hone their quirks. It also gave them the chance to hone different aspects of their quirks that they usually didn't get to use. After 2 months, the hero left and All Might took over. By the end of the 9th month, the pair were only had combat training since they had removed the garbage. The day before the UA entrance exam, All Might decided to cut the training session short to talk to the boys. "You two have done well. Make sure to get plenty of sleep tonight to be ready for the long day ahead of you tomorrow," All Might said with his trademark smile. "Hey, Deku, make sure you're not late for the exam. You better make it into UA." "Nerd," Katsuki said. "Kaken, let that go. I haven't been late once to the training we've been doing," Izuku said. "True, but you still haven't figured out how to get to school on time. You will have to explain to me how you're late when you have super speed," Katsuki said, taking a jab at Izuku. "I wish you would let that go, Kaken," Izuku said and responded with his jab. "Just remember you two are competing against other people who want to be heroes. Make sure to go plus ultra tomorrow," All Might said before leaping away. Izuku and Katsuki decided to go home to get in some last-minute studying before the exam. Both agreed to meet up at the entrance to the UA exam center before the exam started. Izuku spent the rest of the day studying. After about 4 hours of non-stop studying, Izuku decided to call it a night and fell asleep. The next day, Izuku woke up bright and early. Once he got dressed, he went to the entrance and waited for Katsuki. The two walked into the exam hall while debating about what the practical exam would be. Once the two had taken their seat, Katsuki noticed that they didn't have the same starting location for the practical exam. As they started discussing why this would be the case, a stern-looking boy stood up. "Other people are trying to focus on the exam here. You should stop talking and disrupting their train of thought. It's very unheroic of you two if you continue to talk," the boy said before sitting back down. Izuku breezed through the exam's written portion as he had spent more than enough time studying for the exam. Izuku then changed into workout so he could take the practical exam. Izuku took the time before the exam to activate his quirk. Izuku had no intention of being the last person out of the starting gate. President Mike announced that the practical exam was starting. Izuku sprinted forwards and was one of the first people out of the gate. Izuku found himself face to face with 5 one-pointer robots, 3 two-pointer robots, and 1 three-pointer robot. Izuku started using his quirk fully to propel himself at top speed to begin destroying the robots. Izuku targeted the robots' joints since he figured that was where the robots were the weakest. It took Izuku 30 seconds to destroy the robots in front of him. After that, Izuku focused on finding robots and destroying them. If Izuku saw someone getting overwhelmed by the robots, he would leap in and help them out by destroying the robots so that the person had a chance to recover. President Mike announced there were 5 minutes left in the exam. At that moment, the 0-point robots appeared. Izuku was about to flee from the one coming towards him when he heard a cry for help. It seemed that some rubble had trapped a brunette. Instead of running away from the robot, Izuku ran towards it. Izuku knew that if the robot hit him, it was over. Knowing that there were only 5 minutes left to the exam, Izuku forced his quirk into complete overdrive. While the speed increase was minimal, it did increase the type of surfaces that Izuku could travel over as the robot started to reach down in an attempt to grab Izuku. Izuku jumped through the opening in between its fingers and started running on the arm of the robot. Izuku quickly reached the robot's elbow and started to destroy the joint. The robot then moved its other arm in an attempt to grab Izuku. Izuku would then jump on the other arm and repeat the process. Slowly but surely, Izuku damaged the elbows until they weren't functional anymore. As Izuku started to slow down because he was reaching his limit, Present Mike announced that there was only 1 minute remaining. With that announcement, Izuku pushed himself even harder. He had to make sure that the zero-pointer stopped moving. Otherwise, it might hurt the girl trapped underneath the rubble. Izuku ran towards the head area of the robot. Once he was at the head area, Izuku tried the various wires and tubes that helped the robot motor functions. At the 30-second mark, Izuku finally ran out of steam and fell off of the robot. As he was falling, the girl that he had been trying to save earlier slapped his face with her hand, and he started to fall slowly to the ground. Once he hit the ground, Present Mike said the exam was over and anyone injured should see Recovery Girl. Otherwise, they should head home. Izuku went home and went to bed early, feeling drained from the entrance exam's practical portion. A few days later, Katsuki and Izuku were on the phone. "Hey, nerd, I got accepted into UA. Have you received anything from UA yet?" Katsuki asked excitedly over his news. "I haven't heard anything yet. I'm going to train tomorrow at the beach. Otherwise, my nerves are going to make me sick," Izuku said. "Give it a rest, Deku. You decided to fight the zero-pointer at the end. Just deal with the consequences, nerd," Katsuki said before hanging up. For the next few weeks, Izuku spent time training at the Adobe beach to take his mind off the entrance exam. One Sunday afternoon, when Izuku returned home, his mother greeted him and handed him an envelope from UA. Izuku then went to his room and opened the envelope. A disc fell out of the envelope and activated. It started to play a video. "It's All Might," Izuku said excitedly, as he saw who was delivering the message to him. "It is I, All Might, assuming that you were saying, 'Oh my god, is that All Might?' Young Midoriya, when we first met, you doubted whether or not you could become a hero because of your quirk. You scored 40 villain points. There was also a hidden part of the practical exam," All Might said, and it cut to a clip of the girl Izuku tried to help out, offering her points to help out the person who saved her if he was missing any points. Present Mike tells her not to worry and that it won't be necessary. Present Mike then sends her out of the door. The hidden part of the exam was the hero section. Every time you helped someone out of a pinch, you earn points. Due to this, you earned an additional 50 points. "I apologize for the inconvenience I caused you. I was busy getting ready to be a teacher at UA. Young Midoriya, I welcome you to your Hero Academia," All Might said before the video ended. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video and editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have a fantastic day.